So what is redundancy? Some case laws have explained this. My name is Louis Liao. I'm an employment lawyer and a principal at Louis Liao Chambers. What is redundancy? So we say we can terminate if the employee has become redundant, no longer needed the services. So what is redundancy? Some case laws have explained this. For example, the case of Stephen Bong, court says it is not the law that redundancy means the job or work no longer exists. Redundancy situations arise where the business requires fewer employees of whatever kind. It is the company's case that there was reduced work and reduced business, which made the applicant's position as an executive director in charge of one group redundant. The industrial court is right when it held that the applicant was redundant. Okay, I want to clarify. If a job disappears, there's no more need for this job at all. It is redundancy. If a work no longer exists, it is redundancy. For example, let's say we have a job that is call center. If the automated chat box, if AI is so advanced that all questions can be answered through AI or through the automated chat box, if because of this technology, there is no longer work required, there is no longer employees required to answer these questions, the work no longer exists, the job no longer exists, these are clear redundancy. These are good reasons to retrench an employee because these employees who used to do this job has become redundant. No longer require them because we have technology to replace already, because we can use other people to replace already. Outsourcing the work, the job no longer exists because for whatever reason it no longer exists, then it is redundancy. Means the company is able to retrench these people. As long as you go to court, you say that, well, this is why, this is the truth, then the court will say, oh, it is sincere, it is bona fide, it is just you exercising your power to organize your business in the most efficient way possible, which is to use technology to can save costs. Then the court will not intervene. So if a job or work no longer exists, it is clearly the redundancy. What this case is saying is that you don't need the job or work to no longer exist to have redundancy. Meaning sometimes, even though the job and the work still exists, it's not totally eliminated, it's not totally closed down, there can still be redundancy. For example, when there is requirement of fewer, don't need so many. It's not totally eliminated, but no longer need so many. That is also redundancy. For example, let's say in a clothing shop, there used to be 3 salesperson. If AI or technology make it so good that you don't need anybody to be in the shop and a customer can walk in and use the self-checkout and all this technology to pay for the clothes, there's no security concerns, technology is so good, all these 3 salesperson can be terminated because the job no longer exists. It is all replaced by technology. It's valid to retrench them. But let's say it's because of pandemic, the malls are not open for long hours or the malls are closed generally. There's no longer so many customers walking by, walking in, walking out. So there is no longer need for 3 salesperson. You only need 1 person. 1 person is enough to manage the whole store. Then the 2 other person is redundant, is surplus, is no longer required. So this is the case that says that the job or work may not entirely cease to exist, but these 2 people are no longer required. And for that reason, it's sufficient reason to retrench them. So summary of redundancy, number 1, if the entire business is shut down. If the place of business is shut down, it's also possible, for example, some branches is shut down and sometimes a specific role or the work of the employee disappears or becomes obsolete. All these 3 can be redundancy. There's a small difference between the entire company closed down and part of the business of the company closed down. If the entire company closed down, it is not even just a retrenchment. It's more like the employees just have nowhere to go anymore because it's not the company retrenching people. It's the entire company disappeared, completely entirely closed down. So it's called a discharge. Basically, employees just no more employer already, because the employer entirely closed down. Sometimes a company can still exist, but part of their business is being shut down. Then when the business is being shut down, the people in that business becomes redundant. For example, a company can have a retail business, can have a manufacturing business. Sometimes they just realize, no point doing retail anymore, just focus on manufacturing. They close down all their retail business. They close down all their shops. Their factory manufacturing is still there, but the shops, the retailing business is closed down. All the employees under the retail business will be retrenched. So these employees can come and sue the company and say, hey, I want to sue you for wrongful dismissal. But the company can just say, I'm sorry, but we are no longer in this business. So you were redundant, therefore we were right to retrench you. If everything closed down, it's a bit hard to say it's a termination. Basically, it's like the employee disappeared. The entire employment relationship just ended, just discharged. But of course, in real life, it's the same where the employee loses the job. It's just that there's nobody to sue because the entire company is closed. But sometimes it's the place of business is being shut down. They have many branches. They have Bangsa branch, they have Klang branch, they have Sungai Wang branch. If Sungai Wang branch is still doing well, Klang branch is still doing well, but Bangsa branch is not doing well. Company is entitled to close down the Bangsa branch, and this Bangsa branch people is considered redundant, considered surplus, and therefore terminated. Of course, there can be an argument by the employer and say, then you should transfer me to the other branches because they are still working. There can be an argument, you need to see the facts of the case. But of course, the employer can say, well, these two branches already have enough people, and these two branches is still working. I cannot just absorb you, then becomes additional unnecessary costs on these two branches. So the truth is you are still redundant, therefore I want to terminate you. And the third one, the specific work or role that the employee does disappears. This is the one that I just discussed with the examples of the clothing store.